Hello and welcome to part 4 of Talking Socks, and today we're going to look at the heel flap. Your sock should look something a bit like this, starting to look like a sock. I've actually done 44 rows of stripes, and I stopped there because I think I said last time I like to stop on the end of a stripe. I like my stripes to look neat. So I'm going to change back to my contrast colour, to my nutmeg, so that you can see what I'm doing and see the separate parts and see the heel flap. So for this part of the sock, we're going to put some of the stitches and knit them onto double point needles, and we'll leave the stitches that we're not going to work on the circular needle, and I'll show you a really good way of tucking them out of the way and keeping them safe. So the pattern says using double point needle, knit 13. So that's what I'll do to start with. So I've got my sock here, gone down the leg, okay, and I'm going to knit 13, changing my colour. Ooh, that's no good. Right, 1, 2, 3, that's number 12, and that's 13. The pattern will be on the website with all the different stages. So I've knit 13. It now says to turn your work, okay, so you need to turn work over like that, and we're going to purl. Okay, we're going to purl back the other way, so still working with the stitches that I've just knitted. So here's my working yarn, so I need another double point needle. Okay, and when you purl, you go in from the right. Okay, so I'm going to purl 26. So it's just a little bit fiddly. We've got extra bits in the way to start with, but they'll soon be out of the way with the circular needle. So we've got 1, 2, so I knit my 13, so obviously I'm going to purl the 13 across, and then we're going to purl 13 actually from the circular needle, and then we'll tuck the circular needle out of the way. We've just got the stitches that we need to work for the actual heel flap. That's the back of the heel. That's the bit that goes down the back of your heel. Ooh, split a stitch there. If you do that, don't worry, just pull it out and go again. Okay, so I've purled 13. Almost purled 13. Right, there we go. I've purled my 13 stitches. I'm going to tuck this bit of the circular needle inside the sock, so it's not in the way, it's inside there, and the stitches here are going to be safe on the circular needle. Okay, so I'm going to put that double point down because I'm going to knit onto this one that I've got my stitches on that I've been knitting with. Okay, so I'm going to knit, well, I'm not going to knit, sorry, I'm going to purl, excuse me, and purl 13 onto here. So we'll have half the stitches on the double point needle and half will be left on the circular needle tucked out the way. So we just need to purl another 13. It looks that tight. More fingers and thumbs this morning. Okay, so I think I've got my 26 stitches. I'm just going to count, just check. So 2, 4, 6, 26, yes, I've got 26. So move my circular needle out a little bit like that, and I'm going to tuck that down inside my sock. Okay, so those stitches inside there, oh, well, sorry, on the circular needle are ones that we're going to save for later. Okay, so now we're just going to work just the heel stitches. Okay, so it's very important when you're on your double points at this point that you turn your work between each row. So when you say you turn your work, you turn it on the other side. So you do a knit row, then a purl row, a knit row, then a purl row. Okay, so row 1 of the pattern, it says slip 1 purl, knit 1, and it's got asterisks around it because you repeat that to the end. So when you slip 1 purl, you don't knit the stitch. Literally just put it onto your other needle. So if it's purl-wise slipping, sorry, you go from right to left as if you were going to purl the stitch. Okay, so there we go, slip purl. Then I'm going to knit. Then I slip. Then I knit. Slip and knit. Slip and knit all the way to the end. Okay, all the way to the end. So then we turn around the other way, and we're then going to slip the first stitch again, okay, and then we purl across. Okay, so we purl all the stitches across. Okay, so we turn our work to purl. The first stitch we slip, and then we purl all the other stitches. So we're purling, there'll be 25 of these to purl. You can count if you want. Just looks a bit loose in the middle there where I've joined my extra colour, but don't worry about that when I'll pull those tight when I've got further up my sock. But if you're just knitting with one ball of wool, which I would actually recommend for your first pair of socks, you won't have those extra tails there in the middle where you've changed colour. Just changing colour so you can see the different parts of the sock. Okay, so I'm going to do the heel flap, which is what I'm doing now, and then the heel turn in this nutmeg, and you'll be able to see the heel part of the sock. Okay, so I've almost got to the end, so I've purled that row. So that's row 2 of my pattern. And for your heel flap, okay, so you get to the end of the row on this, remember you need to turn. Okay. So for the heel flap, you repeat those rows, row 1 and 2, 12 times, a total of 12 times. So you'll have 24 more rows in total. So remember, the first stitch of the row, whether it's row 1 or row 2, you always slip purlwise. So it goes in there like that, as if you had to purl, and it just goes onto your other needle. Then you're ready to start your row. And row 1 is slip 1, knit 1. And you just keep going. And that's part 4 of your sock. Okay, last knit row of the heel flap. And it's looking like this. It should be quite squishy. Okay. If you're struggling at the beginning of the row, make sure when you purl, or you slip your first one purlwise, put the yarns at the back, because it's actually a knit row. Okay, so slip. It starts to get easier the more rows you do.